So what I've been learning is that Spirit really wants me to take more of a teacher role. And to be honest, I feel like I've always been really bad at teaching. I'm just gonna be honest here. But I feel like with these YouTube videos, I am being forced in a way. If I'm looking this way, by the way, it's because I'm channeling. So Spirit wants me to simply learn how to guide others through their awakening journey. The first thing that was brought to my attention by one of my viewers, thank you for commenting. What they were expressing is that they're having a hard time envisioning the light. In my first video where I'm guiding you guys on how to meditate and get down to the sacral chakra, some of y'all are probably like, what? How do I even envision that light? So I want to focus this video around teaching you guys how to even envision the light in the first place. So what I first want to address is just the simple fact that we all learn things differently. So some of us might go into a meditation and might be super visual people from the get-go. I tell you to imagine an apple and you can just see it in your mind instantly. I want to try to break it down a little bit more. I want to go down the different types of senses, because the senses that we have, they help us be more imaginative and creative in the long run, which really helps in our awakening journey. So even if you're more advanced in your spiritual journey, it's always good to come back to these simple practices. This is also helpful if you struggle with staying grounded. I definitely struggle with that. So the first thing that I want to guide you through is just simply taking you to the beach. So go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you to imagine being at the beach, sitting on the sand and just looking out at the distance. You're looking at the ocean. So now that you're imagining the ocean, I want you to now start envisioning the sun above the ocean. So that image right here, if you are still having trouble imagining this, I'm going to put a picture so you can kind of steal this visual and try to put it in your mind. So now that you have this visual, this image, specifically the one that I chose to put here, is what I personally imagine whenever I'm doing one of those cleansing meditations. This meditation is really simple. All you're doing is imagining that bright light. In my case, it's the sun. I imagine the sun over the ocean, and I imagine the water pouring into me from above me, just trickling down and just kind of going into the earth, and then continuing to pull from this divine light, which is literally the sun in my case. One other thing I want to mention is that what you imagine is specifically for you. So when I say bright light, you can imagine whatever color you want. If I specifically say white light, a bright white light, that's totally fine if you imagine blue. If I say the color pink and you're imagining red, that's fine. That part really doesn't matter. At least not in my realm, it doesn't. You can envision whatever kind of light you want, as long as it's something that feels like it radiates beautiful healing energy. So the next thing that I want to point out, this is a message that I received from Spirit about a year ago. And basically when I was going through my deeper awakening journey, Spirit was telling me to strengthen my creativity by strengthening my imagination. I didn't even realize at the time that I was channeling information. I kind of knew, but at the same time, I wasn't fully aware. I just thought like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I didn't realize that was actually my higher self or spirit or however you want to call it, putting those ideas in my head. So what I specifically did to help me, spending more time outside. I would like literally just relax on my porch and look at the clouds. And as I was looking at the clouds, I would allow my imagination to form images through the clouds the way you would as a child as you are cloud gazing or whatever you call that. So that's something you can do. Even looking at abstract art, just allowing your mind to look at things and forming different images from what you're seeing, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, please leave that in the comments. All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to talk about the senses. I personally think that by strengthening our imagination through our senses, we can have more vivid experiences. So for example, let's start with taste. I want you to imagine a time that you were eating one of your favorite treats at the beach. For me, I remember eating ice cream at the beach, and it was vanilla ice cream. I might have been about 3 years old, but that memory triggers a lot of innocence and a lot of joy when I tap into that moment as I imagine myself tasting the vanilla ice cream and I imagine the setting at the beach. That's just an example. So maybe what can help you with engaging your sense of taste is simply imagining what kind of treat you would like to eat at the beach, or if you have a specific memory that reminds you of like a really great time in your childhood, then try to engage with that sense and bring it to this moment. So go ahead and just visualize being at the beach again. Now start engaging with your sense of taste. What are you tasting? And maybe this is hard for you to even imagine, but if it is, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I think it's something we should all practice because we have these senses for a reason and they make the experience feel more real. So if you are able to engage with your sense of taste while being at the beach in your mind, it's gonna help strengthen your imagination and help you have a more visual and vivid experience while you meditate. So now we're gonna talk about sense of touch. So going back to that scene of being at the beach, I imagine myself literally like putting my hands in the sand and what that would feel like. Or maybe you imagine yourself actually getting into the water and feeling the water. So my questions to you would be, well, what does it feel like? Is it warm? Is the sand hot? Is the water cold? So things like that. So and going back to that beach visualization, try to engage your sense of touch and just allow yourself to imagine freely without being overly critical or judgmental of what you are imagining. So now moving on to the sense of sound, what I typically hear when I imagine myself at the beach or when I actually am at the beach, I tend to hear a lot of seagulls. I personally like the way seagulls sound. I know a lot of people think they're annoying, but I think that they're just hearing them for some reason triggers some kind of, I don't know, like past life memory that just feels really beautiful to me. So I do appreciate the sound of the seagulls. I love birds in general. But maybe a more relaxing experience would be just hearing the waves of the ocean just moving. Try to imagine what that sounds like. Is it super crazy crashing, or is it just real calm and flowy? So again, this is just very specific to however you want to imagine it. Allow yourself to get creative here. So the last thing we're gonna cover is the sense of smell. So with the sense of smell, what I think would be helpful is, and I want you to have fun with this, is literally like finding a fragrance that you really like. It literally doesn't matter what kind of smell. I have a Bath and Body Works candle that I really like, so right now that's my specific candle. If you don't have a candle, go to the store, find something that smells good. It could be essential oil, it could be incense, whatever it is, and use that to help you through your meditation. So every time that you light it, use it specifically for the purpose of helping you relax and release tension and release negative energy. So that's how I would recommend engaging with your sense of smell through the meditation. Technically, I didn't cover sense of sight, but let's go ahead and cover that now. This is where it could be hard for some people to imagine. You really just have to allow your mind to imagine whatever it wants and just allow it to freely create images in your head. When we talk about the light, just imagine a light that feels calming to you. It could literally be an orb of energy. Sometimes that's what I imagine, and other times I literally imagine the sun. And whatever orb of energy you're imagining, allow it to be whatever color feels the most like you at the moment. It could be pink, blue, white, it doesn't matter. If the meditation is specifically calling for a specific type of color and you're not able to imagine that color, don't worry about it. Let your imagination imagine the color that best resonates with you in that moment. So with meditation, it's very flexible. You are really the one controlling it, even if you're listening to a guided meditation. Allow yourself to have fun, flexibility, and freedom with what you are creating in your mind. I do think that by practicing using all of our senses through the meditation, like I said earlier, is a great way of just helping us create a more vivid experience. I also think that it's a tool to help us manifest, because when we manifest, it's very helpful to visualize the thing or the situation that you're trying to create and make happen in reality. So the more visual you can be in your imagination, in your meditation, I really think it'll help transfer over with your manifestation skills. So I hope that was helpful on some level. If it wasn't and you need me to break it down further, let me know. If you have questions on anything else, or if you have ideas on what type of video I can create for next time, let me know. I am definitely open to any ideas that you guys have, or if you guys are just simply going through a hard time and need some kind of guidance through it, I could probably make a video centered around that. But anyway, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my next video, which I hopefully can continue to keep up with on a weekly basis from now on. And follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I post a lot of stuff on my stories that might help you in your spiritual journey.